I once heard a piece of news. A woman, seeing that her expected due date was approaching, had the idea of stealing a child. At that time, I thought it was so absurd. It was like something out of a TV drama. But in this world, there is no limit to the absurdity. There are actually people who would kill a pregnant woman just to steal her child and take it as their own from her womb. What's even more incredible is that her husband actually believed it and didn't doubt whether this was his own child at all. I can't help but wonder what went wrong with this family. One day, Lisa Montgomery drove to the northwest of Missouri. She pretended to be there to buy a pet dog, but in her car there were items such as a steak knife, umbilical cord clamp, and clothesline. Lisa's target was Irish-10-year-old Bobby Jo Stinnett, who was 8 months pregnant. She was usually full of energy, and the baby in her belly must have been very healthy. However, what Lisa did next was unforgivable. She made a noose out of a clothes hanger. While Bobby was putting a puppy into the cage, she put the noose around Bobby's head and strangled her to death. Then, Lisa took out the prepared steak knife, cut into Bobby's abdomen, took out the baby from the womb, clamped the umbilical cord, and finally wiped the baby clean with a wet wipe. After all these actions, Lisa didn't deal with the scene but directly took the baby home. She called her husband, Kevin, and said that she suddenly felt like she was going into labor while shopping and gave birth at the Topeka Birth Center in a hurry. Kevin didn't suspect a thing. On the other side, Bobby's mother found her daughter's body and was devastated. Bobby's womb was like it had exploded, and she was covered in blood. Bobby had no breath left, and her body was cold. It's really incredibly absurd. How could her husband not know if his wife was really pregnant? Or was he in on it from the beginning and just acting? However, Lisa's situation was complicated. She had always claimed to be pregnant, but in fact, she wasn't. So, was she delusional, or was there something else going on? The next morning, Lisa and Kevin had breakfast at a coffee shop on Melvin Avenue. They happily showed off a newborn baby wearing a pink hat to everyone. They introduced her as their newly born daughter, named Abigail. What Lisa didn't know was that the investigators had been monitoring her house. After they finished breakfast and returned home, the police knocked on her door. At that time, the news about this case was playing on the living room TV. Lisa was sitting on the right side of the sofa, holding the baby. The little baby was very quiet and didn't cry at all. The police felt a little relieved. At this time, the investigators noticed that there was dark red stuff under Lisa's fingernails.